Sorry, Clifford. Thank you, President, and I'm really pleased to speak on the review of the medically supervised injecting room, which probably comes as no surprise to many of you in here, given my long interest in this. And I don't think, and I must say that for many of us, the announcement in this report for a second injecting room was more of a relief than a surprise. The report found that the North Richmond Centre is becoming one of the busiest in the world. It is twice as busy as the Sydney Centre, which shocked me. It is now providing services for 4,350 people, and that centre has seen people 120,000 times in 18 months. And let's not forget that when this centre opened, we were and we still are riding a wave of heroin, not just in Victoria, but globally. The statistics coming out of the EM, the European Drug Statistic Agency, which is one of the most reliable in the world, in their drug market report just last year, international opium production has been at an all-time high. Victorian heroin deaths have increased by 225% since 2012. 225%. So while this centre has been deemed controversial, and this report doesn't hold back, it is critical where it needs to be. And there is certainly, in this report, it shows there is room for improvement. There are problems. But if our trends are our friends, and what we are seeing in this report is we are seeing a trend down on ambulance call-outs. We're seeing a trend down on overdoses in North Richmond. And what we're seeing trends up on is people accessing treatment. Now, this has occurred since the new centre has been built, and this report sadly only really got to report on the first 3 or 4 months of the new centre. So it will be great. I'm very pleased that this report recommended an extra 3 years for the centre, because we do need more time for analysis. We do need more time to assess this. But let's also remember for a minute that these are acute medical centres. The people who enter these centres are in acute medical ill health. Most of them have experienced homelessness or are experiencing homelessness. Most of them have mental health issues. Most of them have overdosed numerous times before. 13% of them have an Aboriginal background, and almost all of them have a history of childhood trauma and abuse. So this is a cohort of people that we should not be shunning. We should care about them, and we should care, and I'm very pleased that we will be caring so much that we will be opening another centre for more people like this. Because for some people in this chamber, those lives don't matter. But for me, they matter. And for their families, they matter. And we know, and I've personally seen it, that if we can keep someone alive long enough, they will find treatment. They will come out the other end, and they will be able to be reunited with their families. Sadly, I mean, if the Reason Party had anything to do with this, we'd be opening 5 more. And the evidence is there. In fact, the evidence has been there for 20 years. The ambulance call-outs show us that if we wanted to really address this, if we wanted to address the misuse of drugs, the sad drug addiction of people with mental health issues, we would be opening centres in St Kilda, Dandenong, Brimbank, Geelong, to say the least. And you only have to look at the ambulance statistics that bears that out. Now, there's lots on my wish list, but I'd certainly like to see more centres. I could talk about this report for a long time, but some of the recommendations in this report are about doing things differently. They're about connecting with the community. And I appreciate that for the community in North Richmond, this has been tough, but it is getting better. Crime is changing. there. The crime is not related to the centre, and I don't think we should always look at North Richmond through the prism of that centre. North Richmond is a space of its own, and I'm very pleased that we're seeing a second centre. I commend this report. It's got some excellent work in it, and I look forward to talking about it at another time.